Welcome back to the Fixture Watch, the series that uses the FPL fixture difficulty ratings to determine which teams have the best or worst run of fixtures over the next 4 game weeks. This allows you to stay one step ahead of the FPL and hopefully aid you with your transfer planning. If you find the video useful, then as always please support the channel by dropping a like and getting subscribed to FPL TV. The first team with unquestionably good fixtures is Manchester City. Somewhat unsurprisingly, the champions have started this season as equally as impressive as they finished the last one. You could argue that this team is so good it doesn't matter who they play, but I do believe we'd have a much bigger decision on our hands if they did have a tough run of games. Man City play Wolves, Newcastle, Fulham and Cardiff in the next 4 games, and the fact that their run is so favourable simply makes it a certainty that you must own the maximum 3 City players in your FPL squad. With already so much rotation in their midfield, Ederson, Benjamin Mendy and Aguero have been arguably the best triple-up in the opening game weeks, but the likes of Sterling, Mahrez, Bernardo and David Silva can all easily deliver points too. A team with lots of FPL interest but seemingly difficult fixtures is Tottenham. Notably, they play 3 of their next 4 fixtures away from home. This includes a tough away trip to Manchester United, an away visit to Watford who have opened their campaign confidently, and also a road trip to Brighton, a team who can be very difficult to play at home. To make things worse, their only home fixture is against Liverpool, so the next 4 weeks no doubt look quite difficult on paper. Of course, Spurs are still a quality side and can deliver points against anyone, but with this tough run in mind, perhaps it's time to start thinking if other teams can provide better value over the next few game weeks. For example, Chelsea, another big side but with a much kinder run of fixtures. At the start of the season, we weren't quite sure where to turn with Chelsea, under new management and not sure how they'd respond. But after 2 games in, we've had some time to assess them and a lot of tempting options have emerged, especially given their nice run of fixtures now. So far, Marcos Alonso has proved the doubters wrong, myself included, delivering double-digit hauls in both opening game weeks, and he seems to be getting forward just as much in this system as he did under Antonio Conte. Chelsea play Newcastle, Bournemouth, Cardiff and West Ham in the next 4 games, so the likes of Hazard, Pedro, Morata and even N'Golo Kante all seem like decent options at this point, especially with those tasty back-to-back home fixtures in weeks 4 and 5. A team with significantly difficult fixtures over the next 4 weeks is Newcastle. Newcastle featured in the opening episode of the Fixture Watch, and they remain here as the fixtures don't get any easier for the Magpies. Newcastle face Chelsea, Manchester City and then Arsenal in just the next 3 game weeks, and then they have a tough away trip to Crystal Palace to look forward to. To be fair, the Newcastle side aren't very highly owned in FPL currently, but with this tough run in mind, 5 million for Jamal Lascelles is looking very costly, with around 400,000 managers currently owning the centre-back. The next team up with a good run of fixtures is Arsenal. At the beginning of the season, managers were unsure on whether to take a chance on Arsenal players. Long term, their fixtures look great, but it was the opening 2 games against Man City and Chelsea that put suitors off. Well, despite 2 defeats in those games, they're out of the way now, and fixtures for Arsenal significantly improve from here. Some managers now will be marking this as a chance for Arsenal to get their season underway, and for premium striker Aubameyang to start firing. Defensively, they have looked pretty shaky, so perhaps in FPL that's not the way to go just yet. But attacking options Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan especially could be great shouts for the upcoming game weeks, as Arsenal avoid any of the big 6 until game week 11 now. Now back to a team with a bad run of fixtures, it's newly promoted Wolves. After significant investment and some impressive signings, a lot was expected of Wolves this season, and despite only returning 1 point in the opening 2 games, you'd have to say they've looked pretty dangerous so far. Ruben Neves and Jimenez have looked good value for money so far, and the only disappointment really has been Diogo Jota, who at an initial price of 6.5 million hasn't delivered much for his 300,000 owners, and at this value there does look to be better alternatives. Before contemplating some of Wolves' budget options though, perhaps consider their upcoming fixtures. Wolves face both Manchester clubs in the next 4 games, with Man City to play next, and then a tough away trip to Old Trafford in game week 6. Whilst their fixtures in between those against West Ham and Burnley are a bit better, there's certainly no bankers either, and I'd probably be looking elsewhere for some budget options at the moment. The last team with a very positive looking run of games is Crystal Palace. With that Liverpool game in game week 2 now out of the way, things look considerably better for Palace, who despite losing to Liverpool have actually looked very impressive in both games so far. It only took defender Patrick van Aanholt one game to return attacking points, something he's become accustomed to in FPL. And although other popular choice Wilfried Zaha hasn't returned many points so far, he still looked very dangerous overall. Crystal Palace play Watford, Southampton, Huddersfield and then Newcastle in the next 4, and continue a fine run of good fixtures until game week 10, so those two players particularly are definitely on my radar. And that wraps up this game week's Fixture Watch. If you enjoyed it, be sure to get subscribed to the channel for weekly FPL content, and the Fixture Watch will return in the international break in 2 weeks' time. Catch you all soon and I'll see you in the next video.